Hello guys, welcome to today's class. My name is Bram Paul. Today we are looking at control statement in Java. Control statements are statements that alters the sequential execution of our program. You see, before now, our program have been written in such a way that execution starts from line number 1 down to the last line in a sequential order. That is, the first line execute, at the end the second line start execution, then when second line finishes execution, third line start its own execution, so in that order until the last line. All right, but in real life situation, or rather in practical software, execution doesn't follow that manner. There is always this type of statement, that is control statement in programming, that would either cause a particular line of code or block of code to be repeated for a certain number of times until a condition is met, or it will cause the execution process to skip some line of codes due to some certain conditions. You understand? So these statements are what we call control statements. All right, so in Java we have two types of control statements. We have selection statement and repetition statement. So today's class we will look at selection statement. Okay, so I have to delete some things here before we start. So let's start like this. Say control statement. All right, control statement. Please notice the way I'm using this is a comment marker. Okay, you say there are two types, so I want to use multi-line comment. Repetition statement. Okay, so I will make it a subject of the day. Repetition statement. Selection statements. Selection statement. Okay, so statement. Okay, under selection statement we have the following types of statement. The first one there is called if statement. Okay, these are the selection statement in Java. You see, anytime any of this line is encountered during program execution, then some line of code will be skipped. That's why it is called selection statement. All right, so we look at them one after the other. So first is if. Okay, let me declare some variables before we start. Let me use integer variables. Integer x. Okay, so I want to use if now. I say if, what's your if y. Okay, let me start with x. If x is greater than what is this? If s is greater than y, if s is greater than y, then I open this curly bracket. I say system dot. Okay, let me copy this code. Let me copy and paste it here. And I say this line of code is executed because s is greater than y. All right, now at the end of the day I will print say this line must be executed. This line must be executed. Okay, what it means now is this. We have a condition on line 26 that says if x is greater than y, all right, if this statement results to true, that means whatever we have in between these curly braces, that is in between line 27 and line 30 will execute. All right, but if this statement at the top here, that is the statement on line 26, resulted to false, then this line, whatever we have inside this curly bracket will be omitted. That is, execution we skipped the line, the code within this curly bracket. Whatever that happens, either true or false, this statement on line 32 must be executed. That statement now on line 26 is only affecting whatever, that anything will have inside this curly bracket. All right, so if it gives us false, the execute this line now, this curly bracket will not be executed. All right, then if it gives us true, then it will be executed. So let's run it and see the outcome. So I want to run the program now. You see, this line must be executed. Now that means x is less than y, or rather whatever I have in this statement is false. All right, so this is the control statement now that will now determine whether we will print out whatever we have between line 27 and line 30. All right, but if we change x out to say 60, now watch, I want to run the program again. You see, it's not executing that code or that block. You get? But before, when we had x as 6, the line 26 resulted to false, and execution did not enter into this block. All right, so line 27 to line 30 was skipped because line 26 gave us false. All right, but now that we are having true, that is x greater than y on line 26, then execution enter into this block and executed the line of code we have there. So that is the meaning of if statement. Okay, so the next one there is if x. All right, you know, this first one we treated is just a one way. All right, then for instance, you want to output something to the console window. If the statement on line 26 is false, because you know from this our statement now, this is already written. If we have false, our program is not taking any decision. It's only when the result is true, that's when our program is taking decision. Now if we want to take decision when the statement on line 26 is false, then we'll now have to include x. All right, now have to include s, which is a second type of if statement. So if I want to take decision now, I want to output something to this output screen. All right, if the line 26 is false, I will now come over here and say x. All right, and also drop my curly bracket. So what it means now is that if the statement on line 26 is false, then whatever we put within this last curly braces will be executed. But if it is true, then whatever we have on the first curly braces will be executed. So I will now print out something else here to the console window. Remember, we are still in selection. So what will I print here now? I will now say this is executed because s is less than. I will use less than here. Okay. Why this other one says this line must be executed. That is the statement on line 37. Okay, so if I say x is equal to let me say 10, then y 19. Or let's see what happens now. Good. You said this is executed. This line is executed because s is less than y. All right. Then the other statement that says this line must be executed, that is this particular one, because it's not within the condition. All right. We have two statements inside the condition. So if x is greater than y, line 26 give us true, then whatever I have here will be executed. All right. Now, but if x is less than y, then line 26 will give us false. So whatever we have here will be executed. All right. So when the condition is true, the upper one execute. When the condition is false, the lower one executes. So that is the selection statement. You see, I'm now making selection. All right, which one to execute depending on the condition above. So that is if statement. Okay. We also have a else if statement. Okay, that's how I can include it here. If s is greater than y, print this s if. Okay, I want to include s if this statement now. I will say s if. Remember, whenever there's if, there must be a relational comparison. So I will now say s is less than, what is that less than? If s is less than y, then at the end I'm going to say x. Okay. Of course, if s is not greater than y and s is not less than y, that means x is equal to y. So this line is executed. This line will execute. Okay, let me just say x equals to, okay, equal to y. Then here I'll say, oh God, all right. In order to explain the s part of it, let me just delete this line. Okay, now we'll have the three types of if statement here. Now the first one on line 26 says s greater than y. Now on line 30 says s is less than y. Then on line 36 says x. Now this s statement means that if the first two lines, or the first two statements up, fails, then this particular statement will be executed. So it's like a default. All right. But if any of the statements above result to true, then this last statement will never be executed. All right. So even if both of them fail, it will execute. Okay. Now I've changed s value to 10, then y value to 10 also. That means line 26 will fail because s is not greater than y. both of them are equal. Then line 30 will also fail. S is not less than y, both of them are equal. So the S part of this statement will execute. You understand? So let me run the code now. You see S equal to y. I will change the value of S again. Sorry, value of y now to say 14. That means if the line, the code after line 30 will execute, because from the equation given, S is less than y, and that means line 30 will give us true, line 26 will give us false, line 30, the statement on line 30 will give us true. Then this particular X will never be executed because we already have true up on line 20, on line 30. So I'll run the code now. You see S is less than y, which is the statement we'll have on line 33 because of the condition on line 30. So that statement is now printed. Okay, so should I change S again to say 18? You see, S is now greater than y. That means this statement on line 28 will print because the statement on line 26 will give us true. This other one will give us false. Then the S part of it will not be executed. Let me run it again. Okay. S is greater than y, which is the statement on line 28, I guess. Statement on line 28. This is called selection statement because execution is now selecting some line of code to execute depending on the outcome of the conditional statement above, while some are being skipped. All right, some are being omitted because their condition gives false, while the one that had true as the condition above it is executed. So that is called selection statement in Java. So let's briefly look at the nested if. Nested if means if inside that if statement inside if statement. There, for instance, I will now put another if inside by saying if x, where is my x, is greater, you say if s is greater than 10, you get print this one, then I'm going to say s, okay, copy, okay, I'll cut it, I'll paste here, and now say and this is nested if, and s is greater than 10. Also here I'll say and s is less than 10. Okay, so this is our nested if, that is if statement inside an if statement. All right, so we'll have the outer if on line 26, the inner if on line 28. So if actually s is greater than y, now the first outer if will be executed, then execution will be transferred into the curly bracket after the conditional statement. Now inside the curly bracket, there's still another conditional statement that will determine which of the code or rather block of code that will be executed. The first one, the condition says s greater than 10. If actually s is greater than 10, then this condition will be executed. Then if s is less than 10, then the condition after s statement on line 30 will be executed. But this time around, since our y is 14, so we use say 16 here, because if actually s is less than 10, then this line 26 will never be executed. So we use 16 there. So if we have s as greater than 16, now the code on line 29 will execute. But if s is less than 16, now the code on line 31 will execute. So I will now run the code. S is greater than y and s is greater than 16. Okay. Now if I change this particular one to say 15 or 16 itself, you now see that line 29 will never be executed, even though it's still part of the execution block, because line 26 will result to true, but line 28 will give us false. So the statement that follows, which is line 29, will never be executed, but line 30 will execute, because that is the s part of it, and line 31 will execute. Then it will print s is greater than y and s is less than 16. So let's run the code now. S is greater than y and s is less than 16. Remember, though in practical s, which is 16, is not greater than 16, but because it's the s, this is s part of the statement on line 28. If line 28 gives us false, then this s part of it must execute, no matter the grammar you put there. So that is it. This is computer. All right. So the next thing here now is a switch statement. Switch statement. It's almost like if statement. All right. It's another type of selection statement. So let me just give us a general construct of that switch statement before we close. Okay. Works like this. Switch. Bracket. Where's the bracket here? Let's say x. Okay. Switch case. Case 1. S equal to 4. Then break. Remember this also is it. So I want to copy this statement and duplicate it. Okay. I'll now change this. Say 7 column. This particular one is column. So the last one here now, I will paste. I will say default. So there's no need putting break on the last one, because that is the last one here. No needed. Okay. What it means now is this. On line 26, we are setting a condition, and that condition says switch x. Now, what it means now is this. If we have s as, say, 10, let me say 10. Now, and I run this program, the line that has s as that the case is 10 is line 36, then whatever that follows it will execute, which is the line 37 before the break. You get? So if I run this program now, since our switch here is using S as a parameter, and the value of S is 10, the case 36 will execute, and the code below it, which is 37 will execute. Every other case will be omitted. So let me run the program now. You see, it's printing S is equal to 10 because the case 10 has its own code, which is system.out.print equal to 10. You get? So if, for example, none of this case here matches the value of X, then the default will be printed. So let me say I'll put 17 here, and among the cases here, there's no case that has 17, all right, as its value. Now this default will be printed. So let me say S is equal to default. Let me write default here and execute. You see, it's printing S is equal to default because none of the case value matches the value of X. S is 17 here. Okay. One thing I want to let us know here is that this break statement after each case is very, very important. Without the break statement, execution will continue. Look at what I mean. If I should change X now to say 7, all right, now it's supposed to print out 7, which is on line 31, because the case statement on line 30 will execute as it will result to true. Let me run the program first. You see, S is equal to 7. Now without the break, let me remove the break, but I should remove the break statement after the execution of case label 7. You see that case label 9 will also execute because the break statement has not been encountered. Watch, let me run the program again. You see, it's printing S equal to 7 and S equal to 9. What it means is this. First, you start comparing from case 4, that is on line 27. All right, line 27 gives false because S value is 7. Now coming to line 30, case 7, when you compare to this the variable you have on switch statement on line 26, it will give you true. So the statement after the case, which is on line 31, will execute. Now after that execution, there's supposed to be a break statement, all right, that will transfer the control out of this switch statement, but we have omitted it. So because of that, now the execution continues to case 9. Now, so at this point in time, there's no more comparison because it has their true value already from that case 7. So it also prints what we have on line 34, all right, as X equals to 9 until it encounter break. That is the first break statement. That is when the execution will now